the gymnasium was packed. Laughter echoed from every corner, but not the good kind. It was the sharp, cruel laughter that cuts deeper than any blade. At the center of it all stood Anna Miller, a quiet farm girl with straw blonde hair tied back in a loose braid, her cheeks burning red as the group of popular kids mocked her muddy boots and calloused hands. "Farm girl," they jeered. "Did you ride your cow to school today?" Anna clenched her fists but stayed silent. That's what she always did. She wasn't used to this life. On her family's farm, she knew hard work, sacrifice, and quiet strength. At dawn, while the bullies were still sleeping, Anna was out in the fields hauling feed, lifting hay bales, and wrestling with stubborn calves twice her size. But none of that mattered here. In town, she was just the poor country girl. Her parents had raised her to keep her head down, to avoid trouble. But each day, the bullying chipped away at her. It wasn't just the jokes. It was the shoves in the hallway, the cruel notes left in her locker, the deliberate knocking of her lunch tray. She swallowed it all, until the day the line was crossed. One chilly afternoon, after a long math test, Anna found herself cornered in the parking lot by Lacey, the self-proclaimed queen of the school, and her gang. They circled her like wolves, mocking her clothes, tugging on her braid. Then one of the boys stepped forward and shoved her against her father's old pickup truck, sneering, "Go back to your barn, farm trash." The shove wasn't what broke her. What broke her was the sound of her father's voice echoing in her mind, "You're stronger than they know, Anna. Never let anyone make you feel small." Her father had passed away only months earlier, leaving her mother struggling to run the farm. Anna had promised him she would never give up, on the land, on herself, on their family. And now, with tears stinging her eyes, she realized, enough was enough. That night, Anna made a decision. She wasn't going to stay quiet anymore. She started waking up even earlier than before, not just for farm chores but to train. At first, it was simple, push-ups, sit-ups, running across the fields. But soon she discovered her father's old boxing gloves in the barn, hidden away in a dusty trunk. Turns out, years ago, he had been a local fighter. She strapped them on, her knuckles pressing against the worn leather, and something inside her lit up. Every evening after chores, she trained. Punching the heavy bag her uncle hung in the barn, sprinting across the dirt road, practicing footwork while the cows mooed in the background. The animals became her silent audience, the fields her training ground. She poured every ounce of pain, anger, and loneliness into becoming stronger, not just for herself, but for her mother, for the farm, for her father's memory. Weeks turned into months. Anna wasn't just the quiet farm girl anymore. She was becoming something else, someone tougher, sharper, unbreakable. The school bell rang, and students poured out into the courtyard, their laughter filling the air. But not all laughter is kind. At the far end of the lot, a circle was forming, and at the center of it stood Anna Miller. Anna wasn't like the other girls. While they spent their mornings perfecting their makeup and choosing the newest outfits, Anna's day started at 4 a.m. With her hands already blistered, she'd be hauling buckets of water, feeding cattle, and pushing bales of hay twice her size. By the time she got to school, her jeans were faded, her boots scuffed, and her nails never quite clean. But today, the bullies had chosen her again. "Hey, farm girl." Lacey, the queen bee, smirked. Her friends snickered behind her. "Did you milk your cow before coming to school, or do you save that for after class?" The group roared with laughter, and Anna lowered her eyes. Silence had always been her shield. She thought if she ignored them, they'd eventually stop. But they never did. If anything, the silence made it worse. As the taunts continued, one boy reached for her braid, yanking it hard enough to make her stumble. The crowd howled. Anna's face burned, but she bit her lip and walked away. That night, as she fed the animals in the barn, her mother called out from the porch, "Anna, you okay?" She forced a smile and nodded, but inside she was breaking. After her father's death, she had promised her mother she would be strong. But every cruel word at school reminded her just how alone she felt. She leaned against the wooden post in the barn, staring at the old boxing gloves hanging in the corner, her father's gloves. Memories flashed, his laughter, his training sessions with her when she was little, how he used to say, "Strength isn't just in your arms, Anna. It's in your heart." That night, Anna slipped the gloves on. The leather was worn, but it felt like home. She threw a few clumsy punches into the air. Then, harder. Again. Again. Until her arms ached and her chest heaved. She cried into those gloves, not from weakness, but from release. For the first time in months, she felt a spark. And from that night on, the farm became her training ground. Before sunrise, after the chores, she ran down dirt roads, her boots pounding against the gravel. She used hay bales for lifting, heavy feed sacks for resistance. In the barn, she set up a punching bag with old feed sacks stuffed in canvas. The cows mooed as if cheering her on, and the chickens scattered every time she jumped rope in the barnyard. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't pretty. But it was real. And little by little, Anna changed. Her arms grew stronger. Her steps became faster. Her eyes, sharper. The girl who once looked down when mocked was now looking up, with quiet determination burning inside. But the bullies didn't stop. One afternoon in the cafeteria, as she sat alone eating the sandwich her mom had packed, Lacey and her group swooped in. They snatched her lunch, tossing it around Lee.